believe that private capital will, which is part of globalization, liberalization, privatization, globalization, the LPG model, more and more pervasive, stronger. So, as long as the Indian society or India was governed by what we call welfare state, we had hoped that such primordial values as caste and gender would be gradually erased. But then the neoliberal state, or the proponents of the neoliberal state, has very aggressively have tried to do away with whatever welfare provisions existed or practiced by the Indian state. Now this has made the lives of people of marginalized sections more miserable, difficult. So what to do now? What is the way out of this? It's a very difficult situation that workers from the marginalized communities have been dealing with since 1991, since the day Indian economy was liberalized. What is the way out of this this predicament? I suppose that, and this would not really be a very unusual suggestion, that we should try and bring back the welfare state. I don't really see any other solution to this problem. Why I'm saying this? Because in Indian society, private capital is also largely, if not solely, influenced by caste. If you see that most contractors come from upper caste background in Indian society, so they are, in order to make more profits, they are going to exploit low caste workers. And since lower caste workers are increasingly losing whatever little protection the model of welfare state had ensured, so they would not be able to fight this menace, because private entities think only about cornering profit, cornering what we call in Marxian terms surplus value. So in order to ensure cornering of the surplus value in the private sector, these contractors are going to are not going to make the lives of privately hired contractual labor more bearable. So, but if you compare Indian society with Western countries, the state to some extent protects the interest of those who come from private sector, whereas in Indian society, private sector or privatization of its economy is not going to erase the menace of caste or gender. So that is I'm quite it's a stark reality that we have to accept. And since the element of caste also influences upper caste thinking, so they would only think about protecting, consolidating their interest, consolidating their grip over Indian society, because traditionally these are the castes that have controlled capital. So this capital they would always try and protect. So and that comes from the exploitation of the lower caste people. So this caste character of Indian capital is instead of getting erased, or annihilated going to be more and more very pervasive, going to be stronger ever, and the state itself is basically becoming a conduit in the hands of um, social and political elites, economic elites, who largely come from upper caste background. So, and their understanding of low caste people, their treatment of low caste people historically has always been exploitative. So, it is quite natural for these entities to exploit, to extract more and more labor um, without protecting the interest of the workers that they hire. Um, so, um, so whatever little political representation that lower caste workers, lower class workers enjoy in India is simply not going to be there. And the recent pronouncements of Prime Minister Modi that there are only two classes, one that creates wealth and the workers that contribute in terms of their labor power. So now the wealth creating class is now being seen as something which is benevolent, and that wealth creating class is going to uplift these workers out of their misery, which is pure fiction. So if we have leaders of this kind whose understanding of working class of Indian society, of laboring class, is so poor, then I don't think there is going to be any hope for um, people from low caste who are disproportionately represented in the informal sector of the country. So I believe that we have to now talk about bringing back the provisions that, to some extent, protected the interest of India's working class, India's informal sector workers, workers who are hired on contract. Um, Otherwise, I don't really see any hope. Most importantly, workers also being the kind of freedom that they enjoyed 30, 40 years ago, that they could organize themselves against exploitation of them at the hands of the capitalist class. But now that space is shrinking. Um, so workers' politics is being increasingly criminalized. Um, so keeping in mind these developments, we have to be as conscious political class, as conscious leaders of working class politics. We have to we have to be really seriously address these issues, and not people from the informal sector suffer. If that happens, then they would not be able to come up in life. They would not be able to achieve socio-economic, if not mobility, but stability. And we should always hope that we should vie for economic mobility, not only economic stability. Um, so that is what I think is the need of the hour, and we as politically, socially conscious Indian citizens should rise against the caste-based exploitation of workers. So unless we are able to rise against the domination of caste, upper caste in this context, we will not be able to do justice to our people. Otherwise, they will continue to be exploited. So will their generations be. If we really want to erase this menace, then we should, as a society, stand up to this domination of capital, domination of upper caste, political, economic, social elites.